Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for making it through the day today. Helping me today is my brother-in-law Mike and my wife Kate. Mike's a graduate of RCS, 1977, and he's been working in this kitchen that long. He actually said he thought that his family consumer science was actually in his class in 1977. We're going to do a couple dishes today. We're going to do a Jamaican jerk chicken taco and lemon chicken scallopini. As some of you guys were here when we were finishing up the last class, the great thing about working with chicken is it's inexpensive. So you can do a lot of dynamic things without a lot of effort. For all meats, the most important thing is to think about how you're storing them, handling them, and cooking them. Obviously, they need to be kept in the refrigerator at refrigerator temperatures, 35 or so degrees, and if they're left out, bad bacteria grow. All meat has bacteria on it. So that's just a fact of life. That's why you cook it to a certain temperature. You want the internal temperature of most proteins to be 165 degrees. And there's a number of thermometers we use today to measure that to make sure that you've gotten where you need to go. Obviously, if it's not at that temperature, you're not killing that bacteria. So as you're handling raw meat today, you're always keeping your head. There's nothing wrong with touching raw meat. I've been a vegetarian for 30 years. I love cooking. I don't mind cooking meat. I just don't eat it. But you keep track of what you're handling and when you're handling it. So I'm going to be working with the raw chicken. I wash my hands beforehand, and I'm going to wash my hands afterward. Anything that I use while working with the raw meat, I'm going to be sure that I wash before I use it again. So don't leave raw meat on the counter next to your fresh vegetables, or use the same cutting board to do both. Instead, lots of people have two cutting boards, or they just wash in between. Yes?
So you're not eating any of the food that you're about to make, or you haven't eaten any of the food that you make?
You guys are going to make all of it. I'm going to demo just a little bit with the chicken, so you can see the prep of the chicken and what it looks like when we put it in the pan. But beyond that, you guys are going to the stations and doing all the work. So 35 minutes, you'll have exactly have those meals in your hands. So for the two different dishes, we have two different thicknesses of meat that we need. For the scallopini, like if you ever had a really good chicken parm, it's a nice thin, thin piece of meat. They don't cut it that way. They actually pound it to death until we get to that thickness. So I want to get to about a 1/4 inch thick for the scallopini dish. So get it all covered there. I'm just going to use a couple pieces of plastic wrap. You want to use one large piece that's sorry.
Sorry.
One large piece of plastic wrap is fine too. So a few briskets.
Dressings?
Yeah, a few briskets. I got that perfect thickness for the scallopini. And for the other one, I want about 1/2 inch, 3/4, so a little bit thicker. So you see how monstrous this one is. This is going to make a huge cutlet when I'm done. So I'll put it in here. And you can use a frying pan, you can use a rolling pin, you can use an actual mallet and make mallets to tenderize meat. Just be sure that you're holding on to the frying pan and the handle, because the handles have a tendency to break off of cheap pans. They won't break off of really good pans, but they break off of cheap ones. So you guys get to pound the meat too, so I'm very gratified at the end of the day. So this is about the right thickness for the dish you're going to do with the jerk chicken. Because when you cut it, you want a nice big piece of chicken in your top over there. I'm going to wash my hands. So the other thing that we know about cooking, one of the most important things is read the recipe before you go too far down the road. As for instance, if I went ahead and I heated my pan right now and I threw the chicken in, and then I read the recipe and it said cut into 1 inch squares or something, it's too late. I'm already into it. Or you don't have the ingredients that you need, you're in trouble. You can't go too far down the road without having the things that you need, right? So, as I mentioned, we're going to do one station with the Jamaican jerk tacos, and we're going to do two stations with the other chicken, which is that really thin cutlet. First off, that chicken scallopini, I wanted you to talk me through the beginning of that. Just so you know, we already cut all the breasts in half already. So these pieces that I have, that's half a chicken breast. That tells you how huge the chicken breast is. This huge piece of meat, this huge thing, is half of a breast. When you pound it out, it really changes shape. We've already cut them in halfway, so that step is done. What's the next step that we're supposed to do for that? In the recipe for the scallopini.
Yeah, with salt and pepper.
Ah, great idea. Just so you know, if a recipe ever says season the meat, it just means salt and pepper. Just put salt and pepper on. So just a little bit of salt and pepper. And this one's kind of tricky. Because we know we're on a timeline, in your own kitchen, you probably do this prep and then you would turn on the heat. Because if you look at step two actually says in a medium skillet, melt the tablespoon of butter and the tablespoon of avocado oil. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to steal this avocado oil. I'm gonna
Where
start
did you
over again.
steal that from?
I'm going to steal that.
That was my lime juice.
Was it?
Yes.
This is how it happens on television too, folks. They just cut in between.
I should steal some lime juice or some olive oil from the olive oil bottle.
Oh, I love it. All right, so at any rate, this is an induction cooktop. It means that it heats with a magnet. The rest of the cooktops in here are electric, using a coil. Induction is awesome because it's heating just the middle of the pan. It's not heating the surface of it. I put my hand all over the surface of this, and it's cool. If you do that over here, you would burn the tips of your fingers off, right? The only drawback in induction is it requires special pans. They have to have a certain amount of iron in them so that they work with a magnet. I can use this pan on anything, but I can't use this pan on that because it's mostly aluminum, so it works. But the other good thing about induction is that the heat is pretty quick. You can see the butter's already melting. So it comes up pretty quickly because it's not wasting any energy on heating the surface of the stove, it's just heating the pan itself. We have one of these in our house, 6 burners of it. It's awesome to cook on a regular basis because it's easy to clean too because it's a glass top. Alright, so I'm going to let this heat up until I get a little bubbling in there. And then the next step was to take my salt and pepper chicken and dip it into the flour. This is gluten-free flour. If anybody's gluten-free, just say no. It's made out of
It's graham flour.
graham flour. It's made out of honey grahams. I don't know what it's made of. Anyway, there's no gluten in it for those people who are gluten-free. So as soon as I see a little bit of sizzle going here, then I can see it. If you look in the bottom of the pan, you can see it starting to bubble. That's a sufficient temperature to put my chicken on, so I'm just going to drop it in. I did the same thing last time. I step flour all over myself. I'm going to make sure both sides are coated pretty evenly like that, because this is going to give you that awesome brown when you cook the pan. I'm going to set it down from one end at a time, so they don't splash myself or the other nice people in my kitchen. And since you guys all have a few cutlets in there, you can push it around when you do that, once you put it in. The worst thing does anybody know what the worst thing that a barbecue person can do? They drop their steak on the grill. What's the worst thing you can do after you drop it on there?
That's it.
What did you say?
That's it.
Oh, yeah, push it down.
Yeah, don't push it down, don't push the juice out of it. And people have a tendency to want to play with it. They want to see what's going on the bottom. They want to flip it over. They want to move it around. They want to poke it. Just got to let it go. Let it do its thing. You don't have to, really meddle with it while it's cooking. Besides, if you like in a barbecue grill, you have the thermostat on the top of it. You can see what the temperature is. But if you're using a pan and you can see the little bubbling that's going on there, I know that's a good temperature. I'm not burning it. There's not like streaming steam or smoke coming off of this, so it's not too hot. But I can just see it starting to bubble there. And I'm going to move my cutlet to the middle because I think it's a little hotter in the middle of the pan. All right. So while that's cooking, those of you that are going to be using the green beans, you need to know some knife skills, and at the end of the jerk chicken demo, you're going to use a knife as well. Here's your... Oh, graham flour is ground chickpeas. There. That's right from the trivia, Paul.
I thought so, but I just wanted to confirm that first.
So, while you're using your knife, first of all, if you're ever carrying a knife in the kitchen, you always carry it facing the ground. You all can figure out why you do that. You obviously hold the knife like you logically would in the palm of your hand, but to get a little more control over the knife, put your thumb and your forefinger on either side of it so that you can actually manipulate it with fine motor skill instead. Also, you don't have to lift the knife too far off the cutting board. You can leave it in contact with the cutting board most of the time. You don't have to chop like a crazy person. You don't have to stab things with it. Just keep it in contact with that. And the last thing is go ahead and make the fist with your left hand. Fist with your left hand. Put your thumb behind your fist. And what a lot of chefs say is this is the fence. Don't let your thumb out from behind your fence because the thumb is the first thing that will be cut off while you're cutting things and it's sticking out. So keep your fingers around it and keep your thumb behind it. And as you're cutting, you see how this creates a nice flat surface rather than my fingers sticking out as I'm approaching it, right? So when you're cutting green beans or you're cutting the chicken afterward, just make sure that you're keeping your fingers out of the way of the knife. All right, I'm gonna have you guys come up for a second and take a look at the chicken here. You can even look at that thing. So what you see is just along the edge of it, you can see it starting to grow white along the edges and start to cook halfway up. You can go like just about halfway and then it tells you that it's probably ready on the bottom. Notice I haven't messed with it yet, I haven't picked it up, I have to look to see if it's brown. I'm just saying, I want it like halfway cooked through, then I know when I flip it over, it'll just finish really quickly because you got 3/4 of it already hot, right? The other thing that you need to know is that most chefs, when they cook, they do presentation side first. So like if you get a beautiful steak at a restaurant, that was probably the side that was cooked first, the one that's facing you. So it really pays to have a good temperature in your pan when you're cooking. So I'm going to use my fork and the spatula to flip it over so it doesn't splash. I do have a nice brown on there. It probably could have stayed on a little bit longer, but the flour and the oil together made that nice color. So we're going to send you guys to your stations. So what you're going to find when you get there, all of your ingredients have already been cut up. Pretty awesome. That's the most laborious thing of any cooking. It takes time to prep all the ingredients and make sure you have them. But yours are already done for you. As I mentioned, read through all of the instructions on the recipe so that you know what the next steps are, so you don't like get caught and have something halfway done when you really want to do it all the way done. And I'm going to help over on the stations on that side, and Kate's going to help you guys over on this side. So let's go over to our stations and see what we can do. Don't play with that. Oh, we just turned it over. Perfect. Hi. So far, so good. For me, it's the supervision that makes all the difference. This is strong supervision. Strongly supervised. There was something else going on here the whole time? I had no idea.
How's it going, Dr. Bailey?